Shabbat Shalom Mishpacha, this is the Kohen speaking, and a great Shabbat to you, great week, and what a wonderful week that we've had. All different things going on. I've spoken to many different people, many different students. We are not far off from our festival of Yom Teruah, which is Festival of Tabernacles on the 19th of this month. I think I am expected to travel, and some of my students are expecting me in another city, so we shall see how that goes. Maybe I will be traveling 15th of this month, potentially, and to get to there, and they want to celebrate the festival maybe as it should be celebrated, because they've never done it, and this may be the first time that they have an opportunity to do so. So there is definitely that going on, and I did say to them that yes, I will try to come down to their city and meet up with them, and we'll take it from there. Whatever happens, so shall it be. So there is definitely that going to occur. Apart from that, I don't think a lot has been happening. And we did speak last week about our parshas from the book of Deuteronomy. And if I remember that, I believe we were on we were on Nitzavim, which was a covenant. And this week we are on Vayelech, which talks about Deuteronomy chapter 31, and it says, "And Moshe went and spoke these words to all Israel, and he said to them, I am 120 years old this day. I can no more go out and come in. Also, Yahweh has said to me, you shall not go over this Jordan or Yarden. With Yahweh your power, he will go over before you, and he will destroy these nations before you, and you shall possess them. And Joshua, of course here the son of Nun, he shall go over before you as Yahweh has said, and Yahweh shall do to them as he did to Sihon and to Og, kings of the Amori, and to the land of them whom he destroyed, and Yahweh shall give them up before your face, that you may do to them according to all the commandments which I have commanded you." Now I just want to stop over here. I want to encourage you with something which may not be so apparent. You know, we kind of read the Bible like a little story book, and we forget about the anecdotes, and some things we remember and some things we forget. But I wanted to point out that here when it says that Yahweh will go and destroy them, it doesn't ask Israelites. The children of Israel are not asked to go and destroy anybody. Have you ever noticed that? They are not asked here to destroy anybody. They're not asked to destroy property over here. They're not asked to go rape women, capture men, beat them up and put them in prisons. They're not asked to do any of that. They are simply asked to just follow instructions. So everything that is going to happen is going to happen by the imagination of Yahweh. So who is going to do the imagination? Yahweh is going to do the imagination. And it's through Yahweh's imagination that these things are going to come about. Now this is a very important, critical point. This is a very critical point, if you can understand it, that Israel had a grief, a problem. They would come before the priest would take it to Yahweh, and then Yahweh will do the rest. In other words, it was all in the air. It was all spiritual. There was no sticks, hanging around, and there was no artificial swords, and there was nothing that was physically seen. But visibly, whatever the commandment was given did take place. So yes, Yahweh did destroy those kings. He spoke about the king Og, destroyed him. He destroyed about the other king. He also destroyed him. But Yahweh did not have to go and fight because he sent his own battalion, angelic battalion. Israelites didn't go and fight. They didn't go and fight. They just looked on. They stood and looked. And they saw miracles after miracles. But unfortunately, the miracles are all forgotten today. They are totally forgotten and they are no longer remembered. Very few people remember the miracles. Now, I would suggest to you, I want to give you a number of things. A number of things that I like to try. A number of things that I like you to try as well. And somebody, asked me that, I think it was somebody, they're not my student, they're somebody else's student. They asked me about some people not giving them money back, that money they were owed has still not been returned and how they can get it back. I gave them some instructions on that. We'll see how that flows. But most importantly, I want you to do an exercise. I've been thinking about this all week. And I think that on our sheet of paper, on our list, call it a list, call it an affirmation, affirmations, whatever list of paper you want to call it that you carry with you, or your card, your index cards, these are all good things. And I want you to do one thing. Now, everything in my mind, now it may not be in your mind, but in my mind, everything revolves around money. Money runs the world. If somebody dies, you need money for funeral. If you want to hire a car, you need money for funeral. If you want to buy food, you need money for food. If you want to give somebody help, you need money to give them help. If you want to purchase a home, you need money for home. If you want to purchase a car, you need money for car. So the buck stops at money. And we all know that money is energy. Now, of course, relationships. Let's talk about relationships. Even relationships are dependent on money. Your wife may have a birthday. Husband has a birthday. Anniversary. A children's birthday. What do? You bring cakes. You bring gifts. Again, it costs money to do that. So here is a suggestion. And it's a very neat suggestion. And it is something that maybe not all of you will try it, or maybe some of you will try it. We can have, like I had 200 affirmations, 250, my goodness, we're there 20 minutes trying to read them. You can have 250 affirmations, or you can squash them down into one. You can have about 4 or 5, which is great, or you can have one. And what is the one affirmation that can accomplish everything in your life? If today you looked at yourself today and you looked at your house, your car, your business, your home, your living, your lifestyle, your old cups and teas, pots, your old furniture, your old things that you have in your house, what would you say will change all of that? Money will change it in an instant like this. A second it will change it. So let's say, for argument's sake, this is just an example. Let's say that suddenly you got $10,000. It's not a big amount, $10,000. It's not a huge amount. You get $10,000. What do? Well, of course, you can't buy a new car with the $10,000. So let's raise up the ante a little bit. Let's call it $50,000. All right, let's call it $100,000. Forget about even 50. You got $100,000. With $100,000 instantly, the first thing that you might come into your mind, I want to change my car. I want to change my furniture. I'm going to buy new clothes. I'm going to buy a new cologne. I'm going to buy new crockery. I'm going to buy new pans and pots, and I'm going to give all my other ones away to, the charitable shops over there. So what you do, that $100,000 suddenly becomes sufficient to do everything that you were stuck with, right? It's just an argument. It's just, $100,000 is not enough to go buy a new house and set it up, because you may need more than that. I'm just talking about your existing house. So where should we be? What should we be focusing on? And here is a technique that I would advise you. And you may take this technique, and you can take this technique to whatever level you like. You can start with $5 million. You can start with 20. You can start with 50 million. Or you can start with 100 million. Something that's much, much achievable. 100 million today is a very achievable sum for many, many people. Because you hear it all the time. Such and such man, he won $250 million on the lottery. Such and such a man, he got $400 million on the lottery. Such and such a man, he got $200,000 inheritance. $200 million inheritance. Jeff Bezos' wife, divorced, and I don't know how many millions she got. It runs into millions. That's if you're married to Jeff Bezos. You may not be married to Jeff Bezos. You may not be looking for a divorce. So I'm not saying to destroy your marriage. I'm saying to pick one. Pick one affirmation. And you want to do it in two different ways. Number one, I would suggest to you like this. And you can write it down. And this is the way my suggestion is. My suggestion is this, that you write an affirmation like this in an easy and relaxed manner, in a healthy and positive way, and in its own perfect time and highest good for all. I intend to receive $100 million to come into my life. Okay, that's one way. You will write it down like that. The other way you will write it down, I have $100 million in my bank of whatever bank you bank with. Bank of America, Chase Bank, some other bank, whichever, or just bank. I have received $100 million in my bank. That's the second way. And the third way, then you're going to write, why am I a millionaire? These are the three ways. Now, these are the three ways that I want you to write this affirmation. Only three ways, right? Same affirmation written three ways. In an easy and relaxed manner, in a healthy and positive way, and in its own perfect time for the highest good of all. I intend $100 million to come into my life. That's number one. Number two, I have received $100 million in my bank. Okay? And it doesn't need to be what bank. Could be any bank. Just any bank. Just into my bank is enough. Third, now you're going to use the affirmation. Why am I a millionaire making millions of dollars? And those of you who aspire to be a stock market millionaire, then you can make it like this. Why am I a stock market millionaire making millions of dollars? Why am I a millionaire making millions of dollars? Or why am I a stock market millionaire making millions of dollars? So this is about 1, 2, 3. I've given you three different ways. And you can also write a fourth way. I manifest millions of dollars. I manifest millions of dollars. These are the only 4 affirmations that I want you to write. Okay? Put it on a small card, index card. Carry that card with you. And you can even memorize these affirmations, and you need to speak them throughout the day. And, you may get thousands of distractions. Things happening, accidents, family having problems, this, that and the other, people dying from corona and who knows what else. But these 4 affirmations that I've condensed it down to is what you're going to carry and what you're going to read every day, religiously. Now, I don't mind if you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, or I don't care if you get 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock in the afternoon. You're going to get up, wash your face, and you're going to stand in front of the mirror and you're going to speak these affirmations out loud. If there's somebody there, you can speak it in your mind. You're going to speak it daily. And you're going to speak these 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 times a day. You're going to make this a habit, a lifestyle. And you will likely get problems in your life. Things happen. Somebody died, somebody had an accident, other things can happen. Ignore all of those things. You do what you need to do as a relative, as a mom, as a dad, as a brother, as a son, as a daughter, as a sister. You do what you need to do in those things to take care of them. But your subconscious, your mind, is focused, like laser focused. You are now laser focused to do this. That's the first act I'm teaching you. The second act I'm going to teach you. You can go to Walmart and let me pull up a book. In Walmart and probably Target and probably other bookstores in America, you can buy these 5 subject 200 sheet white ruled notebooks. There are 5 separate sections. There are 5 separate section notepads. They have 200 sheets each. I want you to just take one of these sheets. And maybe you take about, let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take 5 pieces of paper out of it. Okay? Take 5 pieces of paper out of this book. I don't have my scissors in my hand. Otherwise I will do it for you. And what you do, you cut these, you remove these because these are easy to remove. They're not hard to remove. You remove them. And then once you remove them, I want you to make them into check form, like a small check. Like check size. When I say a small check, like a check size. They don't have to be exact dimensions. You're not working in a bank where you have to be exactly 4 inch by 6 inch. You make them into a check section, and out of each leaf of this book, you're going to bring in 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Definitely 4. You're going to bring out 4 leaves. I want you to use both sides of this, by the way. Both sides of this, not just one side. Because that way you'll save paper. You won't waste too much paper. This is the exercise you're going to do. You're going to act like you are the billionairest of the world. That's how you're going to act. You're going to act like you are the richest man in the world. Okay? And you're going to come up in the morning. Whenever you wake up, you've done your breakfast, you've had your little thing, and you're going to write this down. You're going to make a little check. Just like that film actor made. Little, paper check. You make a little paper check. In the paper check, you can write on the top of the paper check, Bank of America, or Chase Bank, or some other bank. And then you're going to write underneath 2. Then you're going to write a name. Create a name. Call it whatever you want to. Call it JMZ. Call it a company name. Disney. Call it Apple. Whatever. And then you're going to write, next to it, you're going to write the $1 million. You're going to write a date next to it. Your date's going to be your, whatever today's date is. In this case, today's date, if today's date is the 11th, you'll put down 11/9, or as you put it in your American format. We do the British format. We put the month first. So we put 11/9/2021. You'll put 9/11/2021. And underneath you'll have a note. And the note will say what you have done. So you started with $1 million. Imagine at this point that you have the most wealth of the world. That you are the richest man or woman, and you have entire wealth of the world that will last you 100 lifetimes. So here you're going to write something. You're going to write here, and like I put over here, note. My note says, I just put just a comment, JMZ. Any comment will do. JMZ real estate. It doesn't have to be real estate. It just be a short form. And you write purchased 10 homes. I put down $1 million and I put down purchased 10 homes. That's my check for today. I want to write about 4 checks today. Okay, I'm going to turn this side around. Then I put down, I put down Bangkok, Pakistan. And I put down $20 million. I put down the date. And I put down a note. I purchased a building plaza in Lahore. I purchased a plaza in Lahore, with all these shops and malls and all that kind of thing. Now that same piece of paper becomes 2 checks. Now I write my next check. I want to write 4 checks. Okay? So, my next check is going to be to, let's see, I just made a check up. I put down Bank of America. Again, you don't have to put Bank of America. You can leave it. You can put 2. Then the name of the golden shop, the shop where you're buying your gold from. Call it whatever name you want to. There's plenty of them around. Give it a name. I just put Gold Salon. And then I put down that I bought $2 million worth of gold from them on the 5/9/21, and I purchased $2 million. I put a note down. Purchased $2 million worth of gold for gifts. Okay, that's my 3rd check. Now my 4th check. Just giving an idea. 4th check. Now there's a place here called Wapda Society. Okay, it's a big society with a lot of homes. So I put over there, I made up a name to such and such person, and then I put down in brackets Wapda Society. I put down the date, and I put down $10 million as an amount, and I put down a note, and I said purchased 10 homes. Now, these are my 4 checks, by the way. These are my 4 checks for today. Every day, starting today, Shabbat, you're going to start writing out checks. And your checks are not going to be $10,000 and $15,000 and $20,000. Your checks are going to be millions of dollars. Every check that you write must surpass the previous check. So, if I'm going to write a check, my first check is going to be $1 million. My next check must be $2 or $3 or $4 million. Okay? So I write these checks every day. Every day I'm going to start collecting these checks. And I've been writing these checks, and I don't need to read all of them to you because, use your imagination. In fact, I wrote a check to a Mercedes as well in Germany. and I bought 4 Mercedes from them as a note. Bought and delivery of 4 Mercedes cars to import to Pakistan, Mercedes, Germany. Okay? Worth $4 million. So this is how you're going to do it. You're going to do a check every day. It's going to surpass your previous check of $1 million to 2, to 3, to 4, to 5, to 6. And you're going to continue the whole rest of this year. This exercise is meant for this year, 2021. I want you to continue to write these checks, and I want you to continue to save these checks, and I want you to read these checks every day. And I will explain to you what that means in a second. Let's first have a drink of water. What is the meaning of these checks? Okay. You can even write a check for $20 million and you can say, I bought Apple shares. And you don't need to put down the amount. You don't care about the amount of Apple shares you bought. Just put down $20 million, paid to such and such broker, note, bought Apple shares. And date, end of. Okay? So, or remember that sheikh, MBS, who was traveling in France, and he saw this boat, yacht. He really liked this yacht, and this Russian guy owned this yacht, and it was $400 million, I believe, and he bought it on the spot. See, that's the kind of mentality I want you to think. I want you to think that you have that kind of mentality. I don't want you to think, oh, how am I going to pay my bill? Oh, I've got a $50 bill, $30 bill, how am I going to pay it? No. You need to come out of that mentality. You now need to live into the mentality where you have been given unlimited amounts of money. Just writing a check. What's so hard writing a check? And when you write a check, you record it, you keep it, you look at it, that's your record. Now, the purpose, why are we doing this? The Chinese have a saying. The Chinese have a saying, a picture represents 1,000 words. We could write the same thing in many words and continue to read it, and it may will take a while to get through to our head. But when we draw a check means something. A check is a tender, is a bank tender. When you take a check to a bank and say, I want to do this, they take it from you, they process it, and they acknowledge it, and they give you a receipt, and you bring it back, and you're good to go, whatever you've done. The idea of this is to expand your subconscious mind. Expand it. Why? Because you may have been brought up in a little family, maybe in a mediocre family, maybe in a family where they were always complaining about money, maybe the mom and dad were always fighting about money, maybe the dad didn't have enough money to pay the bills and there was a fist thrown around, slaps thrown around, swears thrown around, and maybe you were brought up in that environment. And that environment conditioned you to thinking money is hard. Money is not easy to get. Maybe this is why my mom and dad fight. Now we're going to remove that. That is a resistance. That is a block. We're going to remove this resistance. And now by doing 4 checks a day, you're only doing 4 checks a day. And I don't care what amount you do them. You could do them at 5 million, 10 million, 50 million, 100 million. It's your choice. But they've got to be they've got to supersede each other. And these checks are going to open up your horizon. You're going to begin to feel free. And you're going to begin to feel like the millionaire, the multi-millionaire, the billionaire that you are. And you're going to feel like, yeah, I am someone. Yeah, I'm not just nobody. Yeah, I can write a big check as well. Yeah, I can buy big jewelry. I can buy expensive perfume. I can get expensive clothes. That is the idea. That is the idea that I want to teach you to write every day 4 checks. I'm not asking you for more than 4. And all you got to do is take a scissor and cut 4 pieces of paper. And you don't need to do it out of this notepad. You can get your printed paper. The printed paper will probably give you 4 or 5 checks out of one paper. There's 400 sheets in a printed paper. My goodness, you'll be writing all year. There is still plenty left. So, I want you to do that as an exercise. This is my commandment to you as a Kohen to start doing that every day. This will start to open up your consciousness and your subconsciousness. Your subconscious that used to think, oh, I don't have that $10 to pay the bill. Or I like to buy that ice cream, but it's $8 and I don't have the money. That's going to disappear from your life. Because once you go through this exercise, once you do this exercise for 6 months, look, today is September. We've got the whole of September, October, November, December, 4 months. Then January, February. I want you to do this till February, till our new year. Our new year doesn't begin till March 21. I want you all to do this till March 21 religiously. Don't take this as a joke. I want you to do this religiously. Because once you do this religiously, your life is going to change. You're no longer going to be the person who struggled for money. You're no longer going to be the person who money found a real hard way to get to you. Because money will come to you easily. Money will find its way to you easily. Because when you're writing out big checks like this, what do you think happens to you? What do you think happens to people who are rich and who write big checks? Do you think they worry about where the money is going to come from? They already have the money. So you will also already have the money. This is one surefire way of breaking through your resistances. Don't allow any kind of resistance to block you, to stop you, to hinder you. Yeah, you may have a little few issues here and there, fight with a brother and fight with a sister, and maybe mom said something bad and didn't like it. Even if mom said something bad and didn't like it, your spouse said something bad and didn't like it, ignore it. Do not respond. Be silent. Shut your mouth. Just keep it shut. Even if you have a plausible reason that you are right and she is wrong, do not open your mouth. Because by opening your mouth, you will create a resistance. And the resistance will form this block in energy flow. And you do not want this block in energy flow. Also, the 4 affirmations I asked you to write in the beginning. Those 4 that I asked you to write, if you still remember them, if you go back and listen, I want you to record them in your audio, in your telephone, in your laptop, whatever system you use. Record them and listen to them frequently. Frequently. 3-4 times a day, listen to them. Listen to them. If all you did is follow this advice, you will never look back at your history and say, oh, one time I didn't have food to eat, or one time I had short money, because you will have so much money in your bank that you will say it's unbelievable that it happened. This is the way we're going to make it happen. We are going to open up your subconsciousness, and we're going to allow mega money to come into your life. Mega money. You're not just going to have money, you're going to have mega money into your life. And it doesn't matter what age you are, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter what clothes you wear, it doesn't matter where you live, but you're going to get mega money. This is the belief you're going to live with. You're going to live with that belief. Money is your right. You have a right to all this money. It belongs to you. You have the right, like everybody else, to go and shop. You have the right, like everybody else, to go and buy nice things to eat. But you must put this into exercise. These are all exercises. Let me give you an explanation. When the Navy SEALs go for war, before the Navy SEALs go for war, they have to go for training. They're not trained. They're like, some street kids. They don't know how to fight. The Navy SEALs go through lots of training. They take them through the water so they know how to hold their breath. They take them through shooting lessons. They take them through hiking. They take them through parachuting. They do all sorts of exercise to prepare for that day when they have to be deployed. Think of yourself as that Navy SEAL. You are going to be deployed and you're going to have that money. And you then need to know how to spend that money. Of course, when you have that money, you will spend it wisely because you've already been writing so many checks. So you've been writing more checks than MBS in Saudi Arabia. So start writing checks. Start doing all these things. And you will learn a great lesson about money. Money comes to those that love money, that respect money. Money comes to those. Do not think to yourself that money is just given to everybody. Money comes to those people that have respect for it, that love it, that value it. So start valuing your money. Start valuing it. You take your dollar note in the morning, your dollar note. Maybe it's a rupee, 10 rupee. Maybe it's a dollar. Maybe it's a pound. Maybe it's a euro. Put it against your nose and smell it. Smell that smell of that currency. It is the best smell you will have. The best perfume. It is the best perfume because it will get you places. It will change your life. So that's all I can tell you. In life, everything depends on money. If you go to the shop and you had $4 in your pocket and you went to buy something that cost $4.50 and the shopkeeper said $4.50 and you said, I only have $4. The shopkeeper's going to say, sorry ma'am, I cannot sell you that for $4. That's $4.50. That's it. End of story. You haven't got $4.50, you can't go into the shop and buy that stuff. You're out. Remember that. Remember that. Money will get you places. But you got to start loving money. And if you start loving money, money will love you back. Just a spouse is a spouse-husband relationship. It's just like that. You love money, money will love you. Hold money close. Hold the note close to your body. Cherish them. Kiss the notes. Thank them. Thank them that they're in your life. Give a thanks. Even every day if you have to. Give a thanks. Thank you. Thank you, Master of Universes, that you have sent this money into my life, that I may use it for the greater good. And send plenty more, because I'm ready. Send plenty more money. I am ready for more. So, with that, I'm going to pass it on to Rabbi Kefa, so that he may take you through the class. But take this seriously. This is serious stuff. Nobody that I know of that became rich. Majority of the people that I know that became rich, they did not become rich out of their mother's womb. They came just like you and me, naked, no clothes. And then they, did their thing. Some of them went to college, some of them dropped out of college, and they became rich. Bill Gates did not become rich because he went to college. You know that and I know that. Many people today that became rich did not go to college and become rich. They just happened to fall into an opportunity. An opportunity came and they became rich. And so can you. This is your opportunity to become rich. It's as simple as that. And don't take it for Oh, well, is it going to work? It will work. Your belief system has to make it work, and it will work. It will work, but you must do it. We've got at least 3 festivals coming up. We've got Feast of Trumpets. We've got Yom Kippur, Day of Atonements. We've got, after that, we have Tabernacles. These are the 3 of the most important festivals in our calendar. Fall festivals. And if you're doing this exercise during these fall festivals, how much power are you putting in? How much power is going into it? You're putting in tremendous power, and the power is going to be sent back to you. So power onto you. I am happy to say that some of you are going to be very rich people. I am really happy to say that. Some of my students are going to be really rich people. And they're going to look back one day and say, yeah, it seemed hard at the time, but, I did this, and God just lavished me with wealth. And Baruch Hashem Yahweh. What a wonderful, wonderful testimony. Don't worry about little things. Don't allow little things to annoy you. Don't allow resistances. Resistances create problems. Don't get into fights. Don't get into resistances. When things happen and when you get knocked back a little and you're upset, don't worry about it. Resistance is resistance. Don't allow resistance to affect you. Resistance comes to everybody, but we must deal with it. We must not allow resistance to hinder us. We must not allow it to hinder us. There is another technique that I like to talk to you, but I go again, timing, well, there is time. What you can do is get yourself a candle, get yourself a white candle, or a red candle, or a blue candle. They're all available from Walmart. Maybe even Target sells them. You can get those blue candles, white candles, red candles, whatever candles. Bring it before you. Put take a $10 note or a $5 note, even a $1 note. If all you got is $1, take a $1 note and put it underneath the candle stand. And, get a little candle stand as well. Put the candle on top of it, light it. Then repeat your affirmations that I gave you. Repeat them every day religiously. Religiously. Some of you, and I'm not going to say which ones, but some of you, my students, are going to be millionaires. And some may not make it, but some of you will become millionaires. And you will never look back. And you'll always be thankful. Be always grateful. Always give gratitude. And it all work well. As I say, may the force be with you. And the only force that you need is the force of above, the force of Yahweh. He will always be with you. He'll never let you down. So over to you, Rabbi Kefa. Have a great, great Shabbat, weekend, and week ahead. Shabbat Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.
Okay, Mishpachah, Shabbat Shalom. Okay, Mishpachah, Shabbat Shalom. This is Rabbi Kefa coming in live to you from San Antonio, Texas, here at home base, Baruch Hashem. I give thanks to the Most High for where He has dispersed and scattered me to the four corners of this earth, and where I will settle and set up bases, Baruch Hashem. If I could be heard, can I get a one? I want to make sure I'm coming in crystal clear here. Make sure the recording is going as well. This is what we have going on. Hakoin is in travels right now, so this is what's going to happen. His lecture, you're going to have to go to top of the responses. You're going to have to go to YouTube and listen to his lecture, because what he's going to do is he's going to mesh his lecture with my lecture, and then put them together. And then put them together, and then put it on YouTube. So this is where you'll have to go listen to his lecture at a later time when he's finishing his traveling, as he's on the road as we speak. So doing his necessaries. So just note that. So my recording will go through today, and then they will be put together, and then we'll put them on the YouTube format. And that's Sim Out. If you don't know, it's Sim Out. That's his Sim Out. You all know it in the room, but it's Sim, SIMALT. That's his call sign on YouTube. So you can find all the teachings there as well. A lot of people do listen to the teachings from there. So YouTube is a great form that can be utilized. And I'm pretty sure all of you in this room have utilized YouTube, for something, because YouTube has helped me with a lot of things. A lot of people have great knowledge, great creativity, and it's given me great assistance with loads of things, from things pertaining to the garden to cooking ideas, right, Shane? Y'all? Some great cooking ideas, amongst other things that you can learn from on YouTube. So YouTube is a great forum. It is an excellent forum. Okay, today we are in Parsha V'Yachel. This is an excellent Parsha. It's Deuteronomy chapter 31. Yeah. We're going to look at today from our Hidden Truth He Breaks scrolls. It's an amazing Parsha, just like our holy books are amazing. But this Parsha is an amazing Parsha on many fronts. One being this, and it's, I tell you, my father, Mishpaha, has passed on to the next life this week. So it's been a very interesting week. I've been really, really busy settling the necessaries and doing the necessaries for my father. I want to honor my father in this lecture, just as Moses is doing the same thing here. Moses as it said in the Torah, Moses has come to an end to writing the Torah. Tadafa, your condolences, Baruch Hashem. I give thanks. Don't be sorry, Ohio 5. I am totally happy because my father, I am totally happy. I'm sorry that I will no longer see him in the physical, but my father's always with me. And this is the lesson that I want us to learn from the Torah. Because the Torah is the same way. How many of you miss Moses? I haven't seen Moses and I miss Moses. But Moses is getting ready to do the same thing. The Most High told Moses, it's time for you to die. It's time for you to leave this earth. It's time for you to leave this earth. Your time has ended, And so this is a point, and I'll tell you, this is so apropos because, my father still, how many of you understand? How many of you have lost someone, in this life? How many have had a loss? Put up an L if you had any kind of loss. You understand, and you should understand. And I know, you have to go through a grieving process and all this, that, the other, and the third. But at the end of the day, that particular loss is a gain because you never lost the individual. You may have lost their fleshly body, but I'm pretty sure that particular individual still talks to you. Just like the Torah. The Torah still talks to me. Even though Moses is not here, still writing scrolls and giving us instruction, the Torah still talks to us. We still learn from the Torah. My father, I still communicate with my father from the other side. Baruch Hashem, I still do. We have communications. Why? Because my father talks to me. We've had a great relationship to where, I remember everything that he's told me. I'll never forget what he's told me. I never, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll never forget. So I have those conversations, and I have those images, and it's like recall. It's like total recall, where you call it back, and, for whatever particular moment or whatever particular feeling that you're in at the moment, I still receive counsel from my father, my earthly father who has passed on, and my heavenly father as well. Through how? Through the Torah. From my heavenly father, I get it through the Torah that was authored and penned by who? By Moshe, by Moses. Baruch Hashem. Tada for your condolences, by the way. But, life goes on. And this is what my father, he's telling me that right now. Go on with your life. Take care of your family. He said, don't worry about me. I hear this clear as I'm talking to you right now. Don't worry about me. I'm okay. I'm in a better place. I'm not suffering anymore. I'm not in any more pain. My father was a gentle giant. He was a big man. as Moses was the biggest man ever, in my opinion. The greatest of all times, Yael, woman of the tent, Baruch Hashem, the greatest of all times, in my opinion, would be Moses. And so, you know, a lot of people took advantage of how big he was. He was big. My father was about 6'3", 6'4", big man. But he was just a big teddy bear. And a lot of people took his kindness for weakness. And a lot of people took advantage of my father in this life that he had. But, you know, he never let it get to him. You know, and he never communicated it. You know, he never let it bother him. And he never let us know about it. You know what I mean? So it was like, you know, he internalized everything, and he had a peace about him that cannot be explained. Just like we're told in our holy books, the peace that passes what? All understanding. Baruch Hashem. And so I carry that with me, just as I and all of you who put up L's, you carry those so-called losses with you to this day. Wouldn't you affirm that? You still carry that with you. Still carry them with you. I see my father in my son Nakshan. I see my father in myself. I see my father in my siblings. I see it, just as I see you and I see it, and it's a beautiful thing, because you know life is about stages, and I want you all to understand that. Life is all about stages. There's a stage, you know, you're in a stage where you're born, and there's a stage where you die. But as I told my siblings, what's important is what happens in between the stages of your birth and when you take your last breath. What are you doing between that in between time? You know what I mean? That's what's going to make you. That's what's going to, you know, create you, and that's what's going to, you know, what you're going to leave behind as a legacy is what you did in between the in between time. Baruch Hashem. My father did great things. Besides begatting 5 children, which I am the oldest, he did many great things, and he helped many people. He just had a big heart. And you know how he passed, Mishpah? He passed in his sleep. Isn't that beautiful? He went to sleep. And, you know, in the end, my father used to always tell me, because I used to phone him a lot. He was there in Houston, and I don't know if you know about Houston, but any of you in Houston right now? I don't know if you know about Houston right now, but they have a big outbreak with the COVID. I have a brother that's a nurse there in Houston, and they have a big outbreak of the COVID right now. My brother's telling me that there's the hospital where he's at, they're averaging about 6 people are dying of this COVID variant a day. And I was talking to him the other day, and he was like, yeah, a 1-month-old just passed. I was like, my goodness, you know, from the COVID, from this COVID variant, and this, that, the other, and the third. So there's a lot, you know, a lot of these things you don't hear about on the news, but my brother's telling me firsthand, he said, look, man, we can't even keep the body. You know, people want to keep the bodies and have a proper burial, but, you know, he's you know, with my father, we cremated him because, you know, you just, you know, in this environment that we're in, there's no time for all that mumbo jumbo and the pomp and circumstance. You know what I mean? You know, if you wanted to honor my father, you should have went and seen him when he was alive. And that's what people don't understand. That you want to honor my father, you should have went and talked to him when he was still alive. You know what I mean? And I want to come in and give this, you know, dog and pony show after my father's done passed. I mean, what is that? So that's just my personal take on that. But, you know, so there's a lot of bodies that's stacked up, and they don't have room for them in the morgue. So guess what? They have the refrigerator trucks over there at his hospital, and they're just stacking them in refrigerator trucks until the necessaries can be done. Isn't that something? So we have a lot to be grateful for. Hakohen has prepared us with the necessary preemptive measures that we should all be taking. My desire is that all of you are still putting the onion throughout your house and doing all the necessaries to, you know, keep your base, keep your home safe. Because that's my father's still telling me today, hey, man, take care of your family. Say, don't worry about me, I'm okay. He was telling me that when he was alive, don't worry about me, I'm okay. You don't have to come see me, I'm cool. But we would talk a lot on the phone when he would answer his phone, because a lot of time he didn't want to be bothered. You know, that's just how he was. He didn't want to be bothered, and he didn't want to be bothered because he felt like he was bothering you. You know what I mean? You know, I tell him, oh, hey, Pop, we're going to come to Houston. You know, don't worry about you. Take care of your family. Don't worry about that. Don't get on that road. You know what I mean? Don't get on that. Don't get on I-10 and blah, 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 you know, for this, that, the other. Whatever reason you want to give. Because he was more concerned about my family and my welfare than he was his own. You know what I mean? And that's just the kind of dude he was, man. Just, I tell you, my father's a great man. A great man. Great man. And I'm going to carry him with me. And I'm going to honor him by pressing on with my life and being happy, because that's what he would want, and me taking care of my family, because that's what he would want. And just like with Moses, he wrote the final writings and penned the final words in the Torah, and then that was it. It was time. His time was up. As the Torah said, his time is ended. And so what happens is the baton must be passed. How many of you understand that? That the baton must be passed, and the baton is going to be passed on from you to somebody else. It's going to be passed on. I mean, that's just the nature of things. The baton has to be passed on to the next person to run the race, to carry on with the journey. Because the journey don't end with the passing of my father, right? The journey just cranking up. With the passing of my father's father, my grandfather, the journey didn't end. The baton had just passed, and you just keep it going, right? Baruch Hashem. We give thanks. The baton must be passed on. That's our heritage. That's our way of life. This is why it's so important that we do go forth and we be fruitful and we multiply the earth so that we can teach our children and our sons and our sons' sons and our sons' sons. That's very important. I tell you, that's why that was a burning desire in my heart to have a son. And I didn't have a son till I was 50 years old. The son didn't come till I was 50 years old, but there was a burning desire in me. Why? Because one of the biggest reasons were, even before I came back into the knowledge of the truth, one of the biggest reasons was why, is that I didn't want my name to die with me. And my pop, he begat what? 4 sons, Baruch Hashem. So his name didn't die with him, Baruch Hashem. His name is still running and alive and kicking this day, Baruch Hashem. That's one of the major important reasons why. Is that when you leave this earth, you want to leave a mark and you want to leave a legacy. But how can you leave a legacy if your legacy dies with you? Who will remember you? Who will carry and who will run with that baton in the marathon? Because it's not a sprint, Mishpah. And a lot of people get that confused. You listen via Facebook or you listen via YouTube right now. Understand this. Life is not a sprint. It's not that 40-yard dash, Usain Bolt. Life is a marathon. So you got to prepare for the marathon and you got to run at a pace, right? To complete the race. Well, that's a good little rhyme. You got to run at a pace to complete the race. And this is why a lot of people get so overwhelmed with life. Is because they see life as a sprint. You know, hey, look, Usain Bolt, man, he'll give you a good, 40 meters. But let him do a 240. Let him have to go around that track about 10 times. Do a marathon. Man, Usain will be back there sucking wind. Why? Because he didn't train it. He didn't prepare for a marathon. He prepared for a sprint. He prepared for a quick in and out, boom, and you're done. A quick burst of energy, then that's it. But my desire for all of you in this room is to prepare yourselves for the marathon. Life is a marathon. After about 40 meters or 40-yard dash, man, Usain Bolt is looking at you and saying, look, I'm tired. And in my end conversations with my father, he would tell me the same thing. He would say, son, I'm tired. He's like, I'm tired. He was married 3 times. His last wife passed. His second wife passed. The only surviving wife is my mom, his first wife. She's still living. Baruch Hashem. I give thanks for that. She's still here in the flesh. And so he watched his second wife pass. He watched his third wife pass. And then, he got to the point after the third wife passed, he was like, look, man, he's like, I'm tired, son. I'm tired. And I totally get it. I tried to motivate him. I did everything I could to put that song back in him because my father loved, man, and he loved the oldies, man. He loved him some Al Green. So what I did for one of his birthdays was I got him an old a record player. Like, what the hell are you talking about? I got him a record player that plays 45s and LPs. How many of you know what I'm talking about? And so I got him the old Al Green and all his old music because what I wanted to communicate to him was like, look, Pop, you still got you got the music within you. It's still there. You still got the music. My father was a joker his whole life. He loved to joke. We get together as a family. We just laughing and cutting up to where we all crying because we laughing so hard. You know what I mean? We're just cutting up with one another, just having a good time. But he just never, he never got the song back. He never got the groove. The emperor lost his groove. Was like my emperor, my father just lost his groove, and he never wanted it back. He never wanted it back. As much as I attempted to assist him in getting that song back in him. You know what I mean? Something to live for, because my father would always say at the end, I'm tired. I'm tired. Well, guess what, Pop? And I told him this when he passed. I said, you know what? You at rest now. You at peace, Baruch Hashem. You at peace. And that gave me such an overwhelming feeling of happiness to be able to say that. Is Pop, you at peace. Pop, you run the race. You complete. Your journey is finished. It has ended, as our Torah tells Moses. Moses, your time has come to an end. It has ended. And that's what happens with a lot of people even before their time needs to be up. As a student of human nature, I study this because they get tired because they see life as a sprint. As, okay, man, after about 50 yards, you're tired. You looking at the person next to you, say, man, I'm tired. I can't run anymore. Why? Because they don't understand that life is a marathon. And then when you can't run that marathon, then, you're not alone. You pass that marathon, that baton on to somebody else, and you keep it going. A sprint, you just give up. And a lot of folks in the very early stages of their life are just giving up. And my brother tells me, as a nurse there in Houston, he's telling me we're going to one of the bigger hospitals there. He sit there and telling me, he's like, man, he's like, bro, these people dying are not old. These are young. These people dying and on these ventilators are in their 20s and 30s. I'm like, my goodness. Their life just getting started. So, HaKohen has prepared us with the necessaries. Prevention is worth a pound of cure, Baruch Hashem. Do the necessaries that we've been taught to do to protect yourselves and carry on with your life. Don't run in the fear factor of these variants, because as you all beginning to see, you're just starting to see the pattern. It's a variant after another variant, and the variant's gonna keep coming. I'm telling you, they're not gonna. And it's gonna be another variant, and then look, they're gonna be telling you get another booster shot on top of another booster shot. Are you all starting to see the pattern here? Don't let them leave you in fear. Just like we're gonna read in our parsha here. We're not here to, we're here to be of good cheer, not to be in fear. Be strong and be of great courage, Baruch Hashem. That's what my father's telling me. My father's telling me the same thing. Be strong, son. Don't worry about me. Don't worry. I'm gone. What you worry about me for? A lot of people, it's very, very difficult to communicate that to them because, they don't understand the goings on of the universes and how everything fits. And, more importantly, where they fit in the grand scheme of things. You know what I mean? I was in that category at one point. Where do I fit in all this world? Where do I fit in the universe? But when you find out where you fit, right, Nehemiah, you realize where you're home, Baruch Hashem. Then you become unstoppable. You become that overcomer. And there's nothing that you can't accomplish. And there's nothing that's going to keep you down because you're always up. Baruch Hashem. That's just the realness of it. Yeah, reality stares you in the face every day. Question is, how you going to handle reality? He told me something this week that was very interesting. He said, you got to be able to make adjustments. You got to be willing to be to adjust like a chameleon, to be able to adjust to your environment, to adapt and blend into whatever environment you're in. That's one of the beautiful things of our exile and our dispersion to the four corners of this earth, because we blended in with all these nations. You can't sit here and tell me because I'm a man of color that I'm not Israel, but people are, because they don't understand the grand scheme of things. You get it? They don't understand the bigger picture. They don't even understand where they fit in the bigger picture. They create this false reality for themselves to where they don't connect to reality and understand it. And then you get these people that hate you just because you're not pure. Pure what? How many of you in this room can say that you pure? 100% pure or what? I mean, come on now. Our holy books tell us that, all of humanity has mixed in. Abraham's descendants have mixed into everything. Abraham's descendants are mixed into everybody. Ain't nobody pure anything. But again, that's one of those divisions that they'll put up because they don't understand the whole grand scheme of things and understand that we as human beings multiply. We don't divide. We multiply. You see? A Torah and always in favor said, I'm pure human. All right now. I tell you, when Nakshan first came out of my wife's womb, I was thinking, wait a minute. Who's the ET that had relations with my wife? I was like this, all like this. I was like, this is not my son. I'm thinking like, wait a minute. Always in favor said, 100% pure human, Baruch Hashem. And my mom said the same thing, laugh out loud. And I'm like, wait a minute. Who is the extraterrestrial that had relations with my wife? Because this is not my son, sir. While he's over there spewing out water like a Chinese dragon, Shane, y'all, I tell you. I was like, what the hell is this? Then I realized, yeah, he's all me. And I look at him today, and I even see my father. I looked at him last night, looked at Nakshan, and I was like, I see my father in Nakshan, and it's so beautiful. And I see so much of me in Nakshan. That's passing that baton, baby. That baton is passing. And it goes through, just like my father told me as he hung on to his bell bottoms. You know what I mean? Life just goes, it goes in a circle. Study circles. You'll find it quite interesting in its connection to everything. But it just goes in a circle. It goes in a circle. So if you can't understand reincarnation, man, maybe that'll give you a little glimpse of it. But I mean, it's real. It just goes in a circle. And it's beautiful. It may not repeat itself because, people say, well, history repeats itself. But it'll look quite similar. It may not be exactly like it was in the past, but it'll be something similar to it, Baruch Hashem. Now, I would like to ask you, I'm going to get a little personal here for a minute. I would like to ask you all who have had a loss, what is the one thing that you can remember? And if it's a phrase or if it's a sentence, what's the one thing you can remember about the person that you had the individual loss with, that they left with you, that like stuck with you? You see, me, I still hear my father saying, hey, don't worry about me. Take care of your family. Take care of your family. Don't worry about me. He's always, his big thing was take care of your family. A Torah says, I am okay. Okay. What's the one thing you can remember that's still sticking with you to this day, that particular loss that you had? If it's a phrase or if it's a word that you remember them saying to you. Well, just think about that for a minute. Meditate on it. Maybe you may not remember before the end of my lecture, but maybe it'll come to you by next Shabbat if the master so desires to linger. And then because Devorah says, my dad's love for me and his kind voice, Baruch Hashem. Adir says, I love you, Baruch Hashem. I mean, remember, don't shy away from that inner consciousness, and because that's the way they're gonna talk to you. You got to be connected with yourself for you to really experience this, if you know what I'm talking about. Adelia says, I love you. Hadassah Grace says, not to forget God, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. That's great. Great stuff there. Oliver says, my father used to tell me, you're a smart son. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. And Oliver, Vive la France, you're still a smart son. Baruch Hashem. And your sons' sons are smart sons. Baruch Hashem. That's what it is. Another thing my father used to always tell me, he said, live your life, son. He said, you live your life. Live your life. Live your life. Take care of your family and live your life. Live your life. Don't live somebody else's life. You telling me to live my life on my terms. You know what I mean? Baruch Hashem. So when we look at Moses, and let's get into the parsha here, because I think this is pertinent. When we look at Moses, What are the things that Moses are telling us to this day? I mean, we have recordings. We have it recorded where we have his writings where we can sit here and Moses can talk to us today just like he talked to our forefathers, the Hebrews, before they became Israelites. You see, Brooke, isn't that beautiful? We want to talk about leaving a legacy behind. Moses left the legacy of the Torah that still talks to us to this day. Baruch Hashem. Let's get into the parsha. Again, I read from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. If you don't have the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, get this Bible, add it to your library. It really assists you, give you some great understanding. It has awesome commentary. I look at this Bible, I don't even want to call it a Bible. It's more like it's a history book. It's the history of a people book. That's what it is. At the end of the day, and the power that they served. That's just what it is. And the events that they went through. The ups, the downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because that's all about life, baby. Reality gonna stare you in the face. Ugly gonna stare you in the face. The bad gonna stare you in the face. And the good are gonna stare you in the face. These are guarantees. The question is, how you gonna deal with it? We've been equipped with the tools as the children of Israel to be able to deal with them properly. To be able to deal with these experiences, these situations successfully. I mean, we have so much choice, availability to choose, how we want to go through life. I choose to go through life strong, courageous, and with no fear. I'm going to say that again. I choose to go through life strong and courageous and without fear. I don't fear anything. I don't fear anybody on this planet. I don't. Because I understand, my holy books tell me that when I came into being, I've been given dominion over this. And I'm truly going to dominate. I'm not going to procrastinate. I'm going to dominate. I'm a dominant force that moves when I tell it to move. And that'll stay put when I tell it to stay put. Baruch Hashem. Let's get into our parsha. Let's look at Deuteronomy chapter 31. Again, we'll read from verse 1. And Moshe went and spoke went and spoke words to all Israel. And he said to them, I am 120 years old this day, and I can no more go out and come in. Also, Yahweh has said to me, you shall not go over to the Jordan, go over to this Jordan. So we all understand that. We all read this. We all know this. And Moshe was no longer able to go. He was no longer able to go in and out. Now that has a lot to it right there. That has a lot to it. However you want to see that, with the layer of the onion that you peel away of our Torah. Is he talking about the Mishkan? Is he talking about the tent of meetings where he can no longer go in and out to the Holy of Holies? What is he talking about? Is it in his meditations that he can no longer reach those particular heights that he used to be able to go into to communicate with the powers? Baruch Hashem, what are we saying here? But from what I gleaned, he no longer had that access. He no longer had that VIP status anymore. The baton was getting ready to be passed, Nehemiah, Baruch Hashem. Look at verse 3 of Deuteronomy in 31. Yahweh your power, he will go before you, and he will destroy these nations from before you, and you shall possess them. And Yahushua, he shall go over before you as Yahweh commanded. Yahushua in the Hebrew means rescue. Rescue. Yahushua, rescue. Or Yahoshua, Yahusaki, Yahushai, however they pronounce it these days. We had a couple of communications come in this week of folks just hung up on the pronunciation of the name. And you must pronounce the name this way and blah, blah, blah. If you don't pronounce the name wrong, you're going to hell. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Totally not connected with the universes. You see what I mean? This negative energy, wasting all this great energy on pronunciation of the name, and then they got the name. Oh, you must say his name is Yahushua. I was like, what the heck? How's your family doing? Is your wife happy? These are things that's relevant and important. See, this is reality stared in the face, but you got folks hung up on. You see, they think when you take your last breath and you go before St. Peter and you're at the pearly gate, and if you don't know the correct passcode, then you're not going to get in. That's a bunch of just malarkey, man. That's Hollywood stuff. Leave that crap alone, man. Don't entertain your time and your energy on folks that's caught up on that. Well, how do you say the name? Yahushua, Yahushai, Yahusaki, Yahushi, Yahuvi, Yahuwah. Oh my goodness, please, man. How do you honor the name is where I'm coming from. That's more important. How you honor, I can give two hoots how you pronounce the name, theologian. How are you honoring the name? How's your wife? If I ask your wife, is she happy? Would she say yes? If I ask your children, you're awesome dad, would they say yes? How are you honoring the name? Baruch Hashem. Look at verse 4 of Deuteronomy 31. And Yahweh should do to them as he did to Sihon and to Og, the kings of the Amorite, and to the land of them whom he destroyed. And Yahweh shall give them up before your face. It's very important. And Yahweh shall give them up before your face. This is why I told you earlier. Reality is in your face. It's staring you in the face. How you going to deal with it? Every day, ups, downs, the good, the bad, the ugly, all that is real. The yin and the yang, the good and the bad, the happy and the sad is real. That's reality. You can't live in some fictitious land unless you desire to do that and think you're going to accomplish anything in this life. And you can't give up on life, because then life will give up on you. I firmly believe if my father wanted to live more years, he could have. He definitely could have. But what did I communicate to you that he was communicating to me? He's like, son, I'm tired. Son, I'm tired. I was trying to get the song back in him, and he's telling me, son, I'm tired. I have to respect that coming from my father. So there's a lot of things I wanted to do with him and for him that we didn't do, because he would always tell me I'm tired. He didn't want to leave Houston. And my father was a traveling man. He would go, man, he took 2 or 3 trips in his life. He drove from California to Louisiana 3 or 4 times in his good times van back in the day. He loved to travel. He loved to get behind the wheel and just drive. In California, he was a bus driver for a while, and he drove the transit bus system in San Diego. He loved to drive. He loved to drive. But again, when his sister didn't tell you, I'm tired. And then he never wanted to leave the city limits of Houston. He didn't want to leave anymore. He was tired. It was like all of his energy was like sucked out of him. And I was talking to my brother there, I really want to give praise and thanks for my younger brother there in Louisiana, there in Houston, who took care of him a lot, because I couldn't. I was either in China traveling, doing something else, or here in San Antonio raising my family. And he was there. And I want to honor Dwayne. I want to tell you his name. His name is Dwayne. He's a great, great brother and awesome son. And I would sit there and tell my brother, like, hey, man, Dwayne, Papa's just tired. He's giving up. He don't want to do anything anymore. We got to respect that. We can't sit there and force him to do something that he does not want to do. You know what I mean? To top of that, y'all, 1 over 10. We cannot force him to do something that he does not want to do. Let him, and I want all the same for you. I want you to go out on your own terms. You know what I mean? My pop went out on his own terms. He went out at peace and at rest. He passed in his sleep. Baruch Hashem. That's how he went out on his own terms. That's how he wanted to go. But I firmly believe he had more life in him if he wanted to live more. But it was his decision. You see what I'm saying? Life is going to give you what you give life. What you want to put into life is what's going to come out of life. I'm always shining because I live in light. I'm always going to shine. Come rain, sleet, snow, hurricane, flood, don't matter. I'm going to shine. I'm going to shine because that's what my Father would want me to do. He would want me to shine. Baruch Hashem. That's what Moshe wants you to do. He wants you to shine. Although none of us have never met Moses in person, we have a deep and a personal relationship with Moses, don't we? Anybody want to affirm that? Put up a capital M right now. You say, absolutely. A deep and personal relationship with Moses. I do. And I never met the man personally. Never shook his hand. Never gave him any dap. Never gave him a high five. Never sat down and break bread with the man. But he speaks to me. And you know how I'm going to honor Moses? By heeding to his words and applying his words in my life. The wisest of all, I consider Moses. Hanok, now actually Moses is second. Enoch, I believe was the wisest, my opinion. But close second, Moses. Hanok is my man. Enoch is my man. That's my man right there. Yeah, baby. Yael, woman of 10. But I have his blessing on me. Oh, yes, you do. And you will continue to have his blessing on you forever. Baruch Hashem. Beautiful. And look at verse 6. See, this is where that strength come in, Mishpahah. This is that verse that my father says to me. And my father, man, he would sit down, I still remember this. We would sit down and we would go through the Bible in a year. You know how you used to do that? We would sit in the living room. Everybody, every night we had to sit in the living room at least 5 times out of the week. And we going through reading the Bible in a year. And I can remember my father just reading the Bible. He would read it himself, but we had to sit there and follow along and listen. I remember that, man. Beautiful. And my father would say the same thing. We read this verse, and he'd say the same thing. Look at verse 6 of Deuteronomy 31. Be strong and be of good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For Yahweh your power, he it is that will go with you. He will not fail you, nor will he forsake you. You keep that verse to your heart. Keep it in your head and keep it in your consciousness and your subconscious. So when Rabbi Kefa says I don't care if you're in the valley, you're on top of the mountain, it don't matter where you at in your reality. Remember these words and they will strengthen you and they will give you courage so that you don't fear no COVID variant. Baruch Hashem. Be wise now. But I'm saying don't fear it. Yeah, do all the preventive stuff. And then go on with your life. Do what makes you happy. One of the last actions that I took with my father was this. It was his birthday. We were all in Houston. And we all wanted to take him out to eat. But remember what I told you? My father used to always say, I'm tired. I mean, all his siblings there. And our children were there. All of us were there. I didn't have Nalkshan at the time. But, yeah, he was there. He was in my wife's stomach, I remember. Because I remember my father kissing my wife's stomach. Before we left, he kissed my wife's stomach. Little Nalkshan was in there. And, but I remember we were trying to get him, we wanted to take him out to go out and eat. And, you know, me being the oldest, I'm literally pushing my father. He's 6'2". He said, I'm about 6, I'm 5'6", 5'7", with my shoes on. And I'm trying to push my father out the door. He don't want to go. He don't want to go. And you know, that experience made me realize we ended up going out to eat, but he stayed home. He said, no, I want to be at home. And I remember that's the last family picture we took together as a family. All of us. And I remember just forcing him out the door. I was literally Nehemiah. I'm pushing him. Lion King, I'm pushing him out the door, James. I'm grabbing him, and my father's strong as hell. You know how they say, he's stronger than an ox? My father's strong as hell. And I'm no Steve Urkel myself. And I'm literally pushing, I'm sweating bullets trying to push my father out the door. Then it just dawned on. And this went on for about 10, 15 minutes. And everybody looking at me and just dawned on me, look, I got to respect my father. He don't want to go. He don't want to leave. I'm like, I can't make him, go out and eat because he don't want to go out and eat. He went through a period of about a year just, in that phase. I'm tired. He wanted to be at home. He wanted to be left alone. He wanted to be at home. He didn't want to go anywhere. That's when I realized, man, I can't force nothing on nobody. People gonna do what people want to do. You can't change their mind. Your will be done on earth as it is in the heavens. You see, the universe is only going to do. You see, this is why I remember I was, as I was on my road back to my identity and who I am, Baruch Hashem, the children of Israel. I remember being in my prayer closet and asking for God's will. Like, God, what's your will? I want to know your will. I don't want to do Hagee's will. I don't want to do Kenneth Copeland's will. I want to do your will. What's your will? And I did that for a couple of weeks. And my wife at the time was right there with me. We doing it together because we wanted to know God's will. And then all that time, God was saying, my will be done. Well, what's your will? Whatever you will, it will be willed in the heavens. Baruch Hashem. Your will be done. That's what Powers was telling me. What's your will? Your will be done. My will is to know you. And sure enough, to know who I am. Because I want to know I was like, what am I doing? Who am I? There's more to life than this. And sure enough, it sure is. Because all that brought me to who? The Kohen in the gate. Rabbi Simon out took me right to him on YouTube. And I was like, wow. This man that I thought was a Muslim was telling me, hey, people of color, y'all are the people of the books. That Bible is your history book. And I'm like, what the hell? After I've been hanging on to the coattails of these so-called Jews like my whole life, because I knew if I bless the Jews, then I'm going to be blessed. I mean, remember that. I mean, I said, if you bless the Jews, then you're going to be blessed. So, man, I'd be blessing the Jews, man. I was like, hey. Then I realized, and when he said that, I was like, man, the light bulbs came on. I was like, oh, man, that book is about me? That's my history? That's my heritage? Oh, man. That just, and again, it started with me. It started with me seeking will. What was my will? It wasn't God's will for me. It was my will. I wanted to find it out. Nobody forced it on me, Nehemiah. I was ready to know my will. A lot of people ain't there yet. They don't know. They don't know what they want because they're out there trying to please somebody else or some other entity or whatever instead of pleasing themselves and understanding what they want. What do you want? Because then the universe's powers is going to line up with whatever you want. Do you all get it? I know you do. Because, get this. It worked because, look, my father for a year was saying he was tired. Did not the universe answer my father's tiredness? The universe said, okay, come on, I'm going to take you. And not only am I going to take you, Powers took him in his sleep. Look, I'm going to take you while you're resting so you can understand. Now you have eternal rest. You can rest now. Isn't that beautiful? I was like, wow, amazing. Baruch Hashem, wonderful. It is indeed wonderful. Do you all see it? My father's will was honored. What was his will? He was like, I'm tired. And he communicated that. He said it, Oliver. He said it, Adasa. He's like, look, son, I'm tired. And what did Powers do? Honored his tiredness. Say, okay, you tired? Okay. Let's end this. And in such a beautiful way, right? In your sleep. Let's go. Let's go. Lufus John Clophus. Let's go. That was his name, actually. That's his full name. Lufus John Clophus. Let's go. That's it. Isn't that beautiful? This is why it's so important that you be mighty, mighty careful what you say. Because that's your will. You're speaking your will. And then the universe has a way of answering you and giving you exactly what you want. Because you spoke it. And then you want to sit there and blame God for it. Well, God, why are you punishing me, God? Powers is not punishing you. You punishing yourself. This is why I always ask folks when I communicate, what do you want? What do you want? What makes you happy? I'm not going to ask you what makes you sad. What makes you happy? And then go through life like verse 6 of Deuteronomy 31. To be strong. To be of good courage. And to not fear. Fear not. Nor be afraid. Don't be afraid of what may be coming your way. Or what other variant they may be coming in. I'm going to tell you, they're going to go through the alphabet with this various stuff. I'm just letting y'all know. Prepare yourselves. Continue on with the necessaries by taking care of your body. How we've been taught by the Kohen to take care of our bodies. And then go out and just live your life. Don't shelter yourself. Don't put yourself in somebody's freaking, what do they have here? They're building them doggone, bunkers here in Texas. Everybody hunker down and get bunkers. I'm like, what the hell? What are you going to do in a bunker? No, live your life. You've been given dominion over this earth, not to hide from the earth, but to go out and have happy lives and be successful and have great relationships, and that's what it's all about. And those people with that energy that don't meet yours, then you steer clear of those people. Leave them to it. I realized I had to leave my father alone because that was pleasing to him. I had to honor my father. I wanted to put the music back into him when he was like, "Look, the music is gone, son. That's it. I don't want to play that record anymore." You know, my brother tells me my father never opened up any of those LPs. He never played any of those records. He never did. The song never came. Turntable, never turned it on. It's still in the box. And I'm like, wow. Why? It's because my father was communicating to me that the music is gone. I don't want any more music. That's it. I'm done. I sung my last Al Green song. That's it. He's tired. Respect that. So I respected that. He wanted to be left alone, so I left him alone. I would call him every now and then. When he wanted to talk, guess what? He'd pick up the phone. Then we'd have a little quick chit-chat. He said, "Well, I know you're busy." He used to always say, "Well, I know you're busy." I said, "Pop, I'm never too busy for you." "Yeah, no, I know you're busy, son. You know, you got to." He said, "Are you working? You work?" He always liked to say that. My father was a working man. Working man. Got that from my father. Working man. He worked offshore. He was a longshoreman. He worked offshore in the Gulf of Mexico on them oil rigs. Back in the day, it was called Amoco Oil. I don't even think they're around anymore. He got hurt on the job out there, got a big lawsuit, and then all his friends start coming around. You know what I mean? All his so-called friends. All the women start coming around then saying, y'all. But that's what it was. Working man. So I get on the phone with him. "Oh, yeah. Are you working? I know you're busy." I say, "Pop, I'm never too busy for you." "Oh, I know you're busy, son. I know you're busy. I know you're busy. So I'm going to cut it." "No, you don't have to cut it short. Anything you want to say?" He didn't want to talk too long. He was tired. And he told me. He told all of us, "Look, I'm tired. That's it. I'm tired." Done. So what lesson did I learn from that? The same lesson that Moses teaches us and that we learn from the writings of Moses is like, look, this Torah is not to be forced on anybody or anyone. You don't force the Torah on folks. You don't push it down their throat. Why? Because they'll reject it. They don't want it. They don't need it. It's not in their DNA to be attached to this Torah, to have a relationship with the laws of Moses. Baruch Hashem. It's not within them. So don't do that. Don't all of a sudden come up with some fake reality and saying, "Hey, it's my mandate to go out here and evangelize everybody, tell them that they're going to hell if they don't accept this Torah, and tell everybody if they're eating pork that they're going to hell and blah, blah." That's not your remit. It's not your place. It's not my place as the children of Israel. Baruch Hashem. We're to honor this Torah. We're to honor Moses by how? By living this life. By heeding the instruction taught to us by the Kohanim. Because if you already read the parsha, what happened in this parsha? Moses, when he was complete, when he was finished writing the Torah, what did he do with it? Who did he give the Torah to? Who did he give them scrolls to? Anybody tell me? Did he give it to Yahushua, Yahushai, Yahusaki? Who did he give the Torah to? Anybody want to take it? Anybody read the parsha? You know he read it already? He gave it to who? He gave it to the Kohanim, the Kohanim. Didn't he? That's just what happened, right? So that's who we go to for guidance and instruction. If we have any questions on the Torah, that's where we need to be. Front and center. Okay, well, how do I help me with this? Well, why am I not doing this? How do I do this? 2021, how does this get accomplished? Remember, we almost flying cars and Shabbat Shalom, Akoim. We're almost flying cars and driverless cars, Baruch Hashem. We're not camels and donkeys. I'm pretty sure nobody in this room has okay, Akoim, we'll do. I'm pretty sure nobody in this room has a has a camel or a donkey unless you live on a farm. Unless you live on a farm, then you probably have a camel and a donkey. But if you don't live on the farm, then you don't have a camel and you don't have a donkey. That's just what's going on. But you have a car. You have a car, right? So these are the things that we must consider going forward. Is where we get our instruction from. How do we honor Moses this day? By taking heed and listening to his voice like I still do with my father. I listen to his voice. I take heed so that we can press on and have wonderful lives. And not just mediocre lives, but have magnificent lives. Have lives that are full of miracles, Baruch Hashem. Not mediocre lives, not just going through the motions. And never getting to a point. That's another thing I learned from my father too. Never get to a point where we say, I'm tired. I'm not, I'll never say that. I'll never say that I'm tired. I love life. And when the Most High so desires to take it from me, then hey, so be it. But just like I told you earlier, we can go through life on our own terms. And believe me, tired is not part of my terms. And I'm pretty sure for you in the room, it's the same thing as well. It's not a part of your terms either. You know what I mean? But it may be part of somebody else's terms to be tired. Baruch Hashem. And so be it. True Joy Ministry, Shabbat Shalom to you. Look at verse 7 of Deuteronomy and 7. And Moshe called to Yahushua and said to him in the sight of all of Israel, be strong and be of good courage. Be strong. And I say that to you this day. Keep that as a affirmation. Is to be strong and be of good courage. With everything that's going on in this world, with all of the mumbo jumbo and the fear tactics that they throwing down, you don't fall for it, Mishpahah. And it's happening all over the world. I mean, from what I'm understanding, they get to a point where they're almost trying to force people to get these vaccinations when they don't want these vaccinations. And these people are like, why? They're giving money for you to get the vaccination. Now they want to force you to get it. I mean, what's going on? Right, Oliver? It's not just in America. It's like all over the world. I mean, even in China. My wife is telling me they're giving them money, incentives. And in China, it's a communist country. And these people, a lot of folks don't want to get the shot. I don't know why. But they just, for whatever their reason is, it's their reason. Don't fall for the fear tactics and all of this mumbo jumbo. We've been given the remedies to take care of ourselves, preventive remedies that are healthy for us. So we're going to continue, and just like Moses told Yahushua, as he passed the baton. You see that? Passing the baton. In verse 7 of 31 of Deuteronomy. And Moshe called to Yahushua in the sight of all of Israel, be strong and be of good courage. For you must go with this people to the land which Yahweh swore to his avot to give them. And you shall cause them to inherit it. And Yahweh, he it is that will go before you. He will be with you. He will not fail you, neither forsake you. Fear not, neither be dismayed. Baruch Hashem. What words? What words as we pass the baton? I'm going to tell the same thing to Nachshon as I take my last breath. I'm going to say, son, fear not. Don't be dismayed. Be of good cheer. Be of strong courage. Why? Because I'm teaching him now. He's going to be 2 next week, and I'm teaching him now. He's going to be 2 years old. And that's real, as we're told in our holy books, to train up a child in the way he or she should go, and when they're old, they won't depart. Got to train them up in a particular way. So when they do get older and they're able to make decisions for themselves, because they're going to get to the point where they'll make their own decisions. Like I got to a point where, I cut off, I flew out of the nest, my father's nest. You know what my father told me when I was 18? He told me just like this. And I tell you, that's the greatest lesson he ever told me. One of the greatest. He told me this. He said, son. And my father, I told you, he's a prankster and he's a joker. So I blew it off as that. He said, son, you 18, right? I said, yes, sir. He said, son, you 18? He said, there cannot be 2 kings in a castle. I was like, what? It took me a while to get it. I'm going to say it again so you all get it. There cannot be 2 kings in a castle. Do you all get that, Miss Paul, what my father was? Do you all understand what my father was trying to lay down? He was like, son, there cannot be 2 kings in a castle. I was like, huh? I was blowing it off. I was laughing. He's like, son, you have to leave. He's like, this is my castle. Now you have to go make your own castle. I'm like, what? I was laughing because I thought he was joking. He's like, no, you have to move out. And I tell you, at first I was shocked, but hey, after about 6 months, I understood that was the greatest decision I ever made, because it was time for me to leave the nest. You had to fly out of the nest and begin to make your own decisions. And, I was going to college at the time, so what I did was, he was telling me, look, you got to go get your own dorm room. You can't live here anymore. You know what I mean? Can't live here. Go get your own dorm room on the campus, but you can't live it. It can't be 2 kings in a castle. And I totally got it. One of the greatest lessons I ever learned. So Moshe is passing the baton to who? Yahushua. Don't be dismayed, Mishpahah. Fear not. The Most High won't forsake you. This Torah will never forsake you. If you cling to the Torah, Torah will never forsake you. It will never leave you. It will never leave you high and dry. I'm pretty sure you've had some relationships where you've been left high and dry. You've been forsaken. You've been dismayed in some time in your life. I have in relationships, especially the marital types. Been left high and dry. Been forsaken. But in the relationship that I have with the Torah, no mas, never has the Torah let me down or forsaken me. Never has the Torah. The Torah has been tried, tested. Torah never lied to me. Oh, ex-wives have. But the Torah has never lied to me. Has never forsaken me. In this Torah, I've never been dismayed. There's always been a path for me. There's always been ways out. Any kind of situation I'm involved in. I tell you, it's beautiful, man. And that's what the Torah will do. If you truly embrace it and believe in the Torah, you got to believe in it. I remember last Shabbat, somebody came in here, y'all remember? And they came and said, can I be here? I don't believe in the Torah. Y'all remember that? I was like, hey, you can stay long, as long as you don't hate on us because we do believe in the Torah, Some people don't believe in the Torah, and so be it. I'm not going to condemn you because you don't believe in the Torah. That's your choice. Just like I couldn't push my father out the house to take him out to eat for his birthday. That's my father's choice. I'm not going to shove it down your throat, Mishpahah. And there's that verse 9 I was talking about of Deuteronomy 31. And Moshe and Moses and Musa wrote this Torah and gave it to the Kohanim, the sons of Levi, which carried the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, and to all the elders of Yisrael, Baruch Hashem. Isn't that beautiful? That's beautiful, isn't it? Our way of life, our heritage, who we are as a people. Let's get ready to close here. I'm going to play our Cody's lecture after this one. look at Deuteronomy chapter 31. And let's start at verse 23. And again, I read from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, the Hidden Truth We Break Scrolls. You don't have this Bible, please get it. Add it to your collection. It's going to do wonders for your understanding and how you need to get on with the realities of this life and live and have a life that's exceedingly abundant, exceedingly happy. Verse 23 of 31 of Deuteronomy. And he gave Yahushua, the son of Nun, a charge. Who gave the charge? Let's go up to 22. Moses therefore wrote this song the same day and taught it to the children of Israel. And he gave Yahushua, the son of Nun, a charge and said, be strong and of good courage, for you shall bring the children of Israel into the land which I swore to them. And you get this. What does he say at the end of that? What does he say there? And he said, and I will be with you. Baruch Hashem. Do you see that? He said, and I will be with you. That's why I know. Everybody says, I'm looking at it, and you know, my siblings and all my family are like, oh, Papa's gone. Papa's not gone. Papa's not gone. Gone, but not. I tell him, Papa's not gone. He may be gone in that physical old rusty body he had, but he's not gone. Why? Because he's with us. And just like I was telling my siblings, he's in you, he's in you, he's in my brother, he's in my 4 brothers, and he's in my 1 sister. Baruch Hashem, he's in, 3 brothers, kind of myself, and he's in my sister. And he's in Nakshan. I look at Nakshan, my 2-year-old, Hakohi, Nakshan's going to be 2 years old next week, Baruch Hashem. On the 15th, Baruch Hashem, I tell you, 2 years old, Hakohi, already. And I look at Nakshan, and I see my father in Nakshan. Baruch Hashem. How time does fly, I tell you, I'm loving every minute of every second. And I understand the importance of training up that child in the way he or she should go. And when they're old, they won't depart. And they'll be able to make great decisions. And they'll be able to do great things. And they'll be the conquerors that they are. Baruch Hashem. True Great Ministry said children are so precious. Yes, they are. They are. And we are all children as well. And we're precious as well. It's just a passing of the baton. My father's not gone, but not. You know what I mean? And that's what Moses said, look, yeah, he gave the charge to Yahushua, and then he said, look, you can go and do this, and then look, I'm going to be with you. Baruch Hashem. That's real, Mishpahah. Remember, you all understand this, and I'm teaching this to my siblings, but, you know, it's kind of going over their head. But I'm like, look, you know, energy you can't destroy. It just may change form, but you cannot destroy energy. And all of you are energy. You can't be destroyed. You may lose the fleshly body, but that don't mean you're gone. Unless you idolize the fleshly body. You know, you can't get beyond the fleshly body. And a lot of people can't. You can't get beyond the fleshly body. They can't get beyond the fleshly body to see what? The memories, the good, the bad, and the ugly memories that were attached with that particular individual, and all the sayings that were left behind. Moses is no longer with us, but he left all these writings and these sayings was to follow and to continue on, passing the baton. The passing of the baton. Gone, but not. Truly not gone, you see? It's a passing of the baton. And we are so fortunate, and I'm so grateful that I was awakened by the Kohen. I will always be in his debt, always, man. Our Kohen need anything, I'm there. I'm like there. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. Because he was the one. When I was, you know, I was willing. Want to know God's will, and universe is telling me, look, God's will is whatever you want. What do you want? What is your will? Because that's what God wants for you. If it's going to make you happy, give you peace and love and joy and happiness and whatever, that's his will. For you. God is not going to impose a will that he desires. No, he wants what you desire. This is why it's important to connect with what we desire. So very important to connect with what we desire. Isn't that beautiful? in verse 23 of Deuteronomy and 31, the end of that verse, and I will be with you. We never, we never alone. Folks phone into us, oh, Rabbi, I'm alone. No, you're not. You're never alone. You need to get that out of your thought process and your speech because, if you speak alone, universe going to bring alone to you. You're going to have a relationship with alone because that's all you think about is being alone because that's all you say. So the universe is going to bring that right to you. Serve it up on a platter. Baruch Hashem. We're never alone. Moses is still with me. I never met Moses. As all of you have affirmed, you have never met Moses. Moses is still with us this day. Why? It's because we have his writings. We have his sayings. And they're alive. They're not dead. You see? Baruch Hashem. My earthly father that just passed, he's still with me. I get that. I totally get that. But some of my family members are struggling with this dead body and this. I'm like, y'all need to let that go, man. My father's not in that vessel anymore. Stop honoring the vessel. Honor his spirit. That's what needs to be honored. You see? And that spirit never dies. That's energy that cannot be destroyed. Baruch Hashem. And what was left behind, just like what Moses left behind. I celebrate my father. And I will continue to celebrate my father through my life as I teach my son as well. So when he is old, he won't depart from the teachings that was given to him from father to son, to father to son, to father to son. That's important. That's our heritage. That's the way we handle business, Israel. Baruch Hashem. It's beautiful. And if you don't have a son, father to daughter. However it is. I'm just saying that's just that's how we beget. Father to son to father to son. And this son begat this son, and this son begat that son, and that son begat that son. That's our history. Baruch Hashem. So, Pop, this lecture was for you this day. To honor you. To remember you. And to honor you through my life as I move forward. And continue being happy and traveling and doing all the things that you love to do, because I love to do those same things. And I know you're always with me, and you'll never leave me, you'll never forsake me. And I'm going to keep that pushing, and I'm going to teach that to my son, and we're going to keep that pushing, and we're going to have a exceedingly wonderful life on this earth as we are now, Baruch Hashem, and dominating this earth at the same time. Just as Moses did the same thing. He left such a great legacy for us to follow, for us to pick up and just keep the marathon going. It don't stop. This doesn't stop. Oliver says, thank you for giving us such a great rabbi. Baruch Hashem. I'm a student of a Kohen and will always be. I'm a student of a Kohen and that loves our heritage. And I understand that I'm home. And Nehemiah, not everybody's going to get it. And not everybody's going to come home. Not everybody's going to come home. And that's okay. Not everybody's going to come back to their true identity and who they are as a people. And that's okay. I get that. And it's not for me to force it on them. Just like me trying to push my mother or my father out the door. I can't force it on them. If it's their will be done. Understand that. So, as students of human nature, what do we need to change? If we want to change an individual, how do we do that? There's a way that you do it. Is that you gotta connect to them with their will. What do they will? Find out what they like. Find out if they're happy, because it's their will that's going to impress upon them. You know what I mean? That's what's going to be impressed upon them. What they desire. A lot of folks don't know this. They don't know what they desire. They don't know what they want. They don't know what makes them happy. They don't love themselves. Shabbat shalom to you, Christian nudist people. They don't know this. And as a student of human nature, we have to help people see this. And if what they manifest is, okay, well, I'm tired and I'm depressed, then, that's what's going to come their way. That's just the nature of the laws of the universe. That's just what it is. So what do we need to do? We need to shine light in their particular negativity. We need to bring the positivity to their negativity. And if they desire to cling to the negativity, then so be it. You have to leave them to it. If they desire to, connect or reach out for positive things and see life in a positive, life is so beautiful. It goes by. It's really a short time in this journey that we're passing through. You see? So they have to choose how they want to go through the journey. You see? God is not going to choose that for them. Power is not going to say, well, look, I'm going to choose for you to go through life miserable while I choose this person over here to go through life happy and successful and wealthy. While I want you to go through life miserable and poor and busted and disgusted and broken and choked. No, that's the decision that comes from the particular individual. We've been given so much power that we don't even realize how much power we do have. Because we feel like we have to give that power, we have to go search out for that power when the power is already within you. The energy is already within you to do supernatural things, to have miracles happen in your life every single day. I'm going to close on this. I'm going to give you this. I mean, and how you can apply it to not only every single day, but every part of your life. I was at this mechanic shop getting, I'm teaching my wife to drive, and she just so happened to be running over nails and everything else in the road because, it's part of the process. She's learning how to drive in America. She's from China. It's a total different scene in America. America, you got a lot more real estate to work with. China, everything's kind of congested, and Shane will tell you, everything moves slow because there's a lot of cars, a lot of people. So, you don't have the wide open space like you have in America. You got real estate here in Texas, man. So I'm teaching her how to drive, and, we get flat. She runs over some nails and mess up. So I take the tire, to the shop. This is I'm getting this done on the spur of the moment. I didn't make an appointment to go to the tire shop. So I get there, and the guy's like, hey, we can fix it, but you're going to have to wait a while. I was like, okay. So I sit down, and guess what I started doing? I start saying, no, I don't have to wait a while. My tire is fixed now. I said that for like maybe 5 minutes. The dude comes out, hey, we can fix your tire right now. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, I give thanks, Baruch Hashem. So you see where I'm going with this, Mishpah? You can apply it to every part of your life, and it's effective. Because that's why my will is for me to get out of that tire shop quick. I don't sit there and wait all day long. He said, well, you're going to have to wait a while, but we can fix it. I was like, all right, cool. So I sat down and I said, no, I'm not going to have to wait a while. My tire is fixed now. I give thanks. I'm so happy that my tire is fixed right now. I'm so happy that I'm first in line getting my tire fixed. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, hey sir, we got a spot open. We can fix your tire now. Because that's what I willed. I willed that. I didn't say, okay, well, I'm gonna be in agreement with what he said. Yeah, honey, I'm going to have to wait a while. It's going to be a while before I get this tire fixed. I didn't accept that. And you don't have to accept it either. You see what I mean? You don't have to accept it. Your will be done, not somebody else's will. Well, the population in America, the men of color, majority of them are in prison or incarcerated or have some kind of criminal record. I don't have to accept that. I'm a man of color in America, and I don't accept that. You see what I mean? So you don't have to accept what, the quote-unquote status quo is telling you. You see where I'm going? And so you don't let somebody else create your will. You create your own will for yourself. Good, the bad, and the ugly. Whether you want your will, like my father, and when he was coming to his end. Hey, son, I'm tired. I'm tired, son. I'm tired. I had to accept the fact that he was tired. And at the same time, I had to accept the fact that, that my father was saying that he was tired. Because I'm like, man, come on, man, you're a young whippersnapper. Because I come with so much optimism. And I'm just so positive, and I'm just full of positive energy. And I want to project that to everybody around me. But yet some people reject it. And I have to accept that, Ohio 5. I have to accept that. But I keep it pushing, right? So that's what we are, Mishpahah. I mean, this is our way of life. Apply this in every area of your life, and I'm telling you, you take control and dominate in every area of your life. And you'll see it just like I see it, man. Is it that miracles happen in my life every single day? Every single day. Because I will miracles. Baruch Hashem. So on that note, I'm going to wrap it up for this Shabbat and say Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom. Now I'm going to fire up Hakoi's lecture, and we'll get his on board as well. But I love you all, and I just tell you, live this life. And you know what? You go through this life on your own terms. And you come in on your own terms, and you go out on your own terms. Baruch Hashem. How you want to come in and go out, that's going to be on you. Your decision. Well, you kind of don't have any control. Oh, let me stop that for a minute. You kind of don't have any control how you come in. you know what I mean? Yeah. You can't control what family you come into, you know what I mean? But once you get here, and once you can begin to control, once you become of age, you're going to be taught a certain way. And this is a great example of it, because look, for us that our ancestors came over on the Atlantic slave trade, and even if they didn't, and you across the shores, across the other ponds, is that we come into these families, right? And we're all taught a certain way. In this mixing, we were mixed in all these different countries, all these different island nations, and we're unlearning all of that stuff that we were taught. Some of it was good, but majority of it is not acceptable to how our forefathers lived. So we have to reject a lot of the old to bring in the new. You know what I mean? And that's that phase that we're in right now, to where we're transitioning from, we're in the nations, we're in the dispersion. Now Israel is waking up, and now we're coming back to our true identity and our true heritage, and that is indeed beautiful. And we're training up a child in the way they should go. That's what Hakoin is literally doing. He's taking all of us, because I see Hakoin as a father figure. And he's taking all of us, and what is he doing? And he's training us up in the way that we should go, so that when we're old, we won't depart. You know what I mean? Because none of us are old. You're old if you say you're old and you think you're old. That's my take on it. I don't care how many wrinkles you have on your face or you don't have on your face. Doesn't matter. You're only old if you think you're old. You know what I mean? But when we become old, meaning when we become more mature, we're able to make wiser decisions in our decision-making process. You know what I mean? That's the point I'm trying to get across. Because the old school people know that people with gray hair are wise people. That's the way we were taught. But today's generation, they see people that they don't respect people that are old. They call them old lady, old this. I don't have to listen to you, old lady. And they kind of lost that respect. I know I was brought up in a generation where if somebody's your elder, you respect them. How many of you know what I'm talking about? You have a high, yes, ma'am. Can I help you, ma'am? Can I help you do this? Yes, ma'am. And you listen to them. You don't sit there and disrespect them. I mean, you know what I'm talking about? You don't sit there and disrespect them. You're not going to sit there. No, you respect them because that's your elder. These are wise people. They've been around the block a few times. You haven't. So you sit there and you listen to them and you respect them. And you honor them. You honor them just based on their age. You don't treat them and disrespect them and calling them all kind of stuff. But you see that in this younger generation. Remember, you know what I'm talking about. Is that they have a total disrespect, for the elder. And they think they know better than the elder. When they're clueless, you know what I mean? Shanya saying, that's why I commend the Korean culture. Yes, Shanya, I see that in their culture as well. Hey, Shanya, Chinese culture as well. You see that in China? Man, shoot, they don't go get whatever the parents say, that's how it goes. That's how it's going down. And they honor and they have that respect for their elders. But again, here in America, man, they trying to I saw the other day this woman was telling this boy, he's got his pants down. You see his underoos. He's got his pants down to his ankles. And the old woman was like, son, you need to pick up your pants. You know what that boy did? That boy gave the woman the finger. I was like, what? Yeah, well, again, that's the kind of mentality that's how these children are brought up these days. Train a child when they are young, and when they're old, they won't depart. Some of that may be due to lack of training. Totally disrespectful to elders. And that's what I see. So we as the children of Israel, now we're being trained for particular situations that may come to us in our maturity, you see. It always appears, oops, I would have had some choice work for that boy. Yeah. Indeed, I would have had some choice words. But again, I left it alone because that's not my place. And I just looked and I examined it, and I was like, man, I said, karma gonna find this boy quick. Don't worry about it. I said, karma gonna find him. I don't have to find him because karma gonna find him quick. Karma gonna find him real quick, and karma gonna deal with him. And gonna correct that wrong. Because, I looked at the woman, I could tell that her face, she was kind of dismayed by the way what that boy did. And she was like, what the, I know it kind of hurt her. She's probably not used to it. Somebody's, and she probably wished that was her grandson. She could knock him upside the head, I'm pretty sure. But again, that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a generation when they're not trained up properly by the mother and the father, that they get kind of ass backwards, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? The way they think they know it all, they don't know shit. And that's it at the end of the day. And it's just terrible to see that, but that's what you see out here. So I'm definitely going to take Nakshan the other route. You know what I mean? I'm definitely going to take him the other way, to where he'll have a respect and an honor, and always for his mother and father. No matter what, he'll have that for his mother and the father, where he'll never disrespect his mother. He hit his mother the other day. Oh, and he realized what he did was very wrong. I put him in check. He didn't hit on his mama. He getting so strong. He almost 2 years old. He dragging my wife around, Jay, y'all. He dragging me. I was like, wait a minute now, son. That's not happening here. we put that in check real quick, but that's what happens. You see. So you have to be on it. You have to be on them. And that's important. That we have to be on our children. We have to be on them and really show them the way. And you can't do that from afar. You can't do it. You got to be up close and in the face. Just like the Torah says, you're going to conquer your enemies, and he's going to do it in your face. Baruch Hashem. So I'm right in Nakshan's face all the time. He sees Father. Father's in his face. And put him in check. And now you know what he does? And I don't know if your children do this or if you saw that in your children. Before they get ready to do something bad, they always look over at you. You guys notice that as well? Now, because he knows Father's going to be in his face. So before he gets ready to do something bad, he always looks for me. And he's looking. You know what I mean, y'all woman of 10? He always looking first. And then he'll see me, and I'll just go like this, nay, nay. And then that'll completely redirect him. You know what I mean? But he always looks. He looking. He know he get ready to do something wrong, too. He know what he's getting ready to do is wrong. So he'll look. He'll look first. He'll be like, okay, well, where's Pop? He calls me Papa. He said, where's Papa? He looking for Papa. And I'll just look at him. I don't even have to say anything. I'll just look at him, and then he'll redirect. So again, yeah, he's getting there, Baruch Hashem, and it's a pleasure and it's an honor to be able to be a father. It is. Shenya, in the midst of the new generation here, is very disposable. Oh, indeed it is. You're right. You're definitely right, Shenya. But this is what we deal with. But we're going to keep it moving. We're going to keep it moving, Mishpah, because we have an agenda, and our agenda is to be full of peace, love, joy, and happiness as we go through this life. Not that there's going to be times of sadness and sorrow, and, that's all a part of it, because we have feelings. But again, we have control of our feelings. That's the difference. Before, my feelings had control over me, and that got me in a lot of trouble. What was that one? I used to listen to this song. I used to slow drag to this song, REO Speedwagon. I can't fight the feeling anymore. Y'all remember that song back in the day? We used to have like school dances. Man, that was my favorite slow drag song right there. I can't fight this feeling anymore. You remember that song? So yeah, that's what it was. I couldn't fight the feeling anymore, Oliver. So again, my feelings used to get the best of me. But then now I got my feelings in check. So now I can affirm that I can fight the feeling. Before I couldn't fight it. But now I can. So I got them in check. And I utilize my emotions and my feelings to do great and marvelous things. Because we all have them. And like Always and Forever said, I'm 100% human and we all are. So we all got them. All got feelings. We just got to know how to utilize them and harness them. Baruch Hashem. So on that note, I'm gonna love and leave y'all in the mighty hands of the Most High, and we're gonna listen to Hakoi's lecture now. I'm gonna play Hakoi's lecture. Todah Rabbah for listening in, family. Todah for your condolences, but we're gonna keep it moving. My father's still with me. You hear him in my voice right now. He's still with me, and I got his deep voice. He had a deep voice out there. I respect and I love all of you. You're family. We've been together for a minute here in this room. You all seen the good, the bad, the ugly as people come and go, but Israel will always stay. And I would encourage you all to understand this. Be strong, be strengthened, be of good courage, and fear not. Don't fear anything. Don't fear anything or anybody. So let's fire up Hakoi's lecture now. Let me get him on board. I say Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom to all of you. Let me stop this recording there.